Hello everyone, let's look at Leetcode question 422, valid word square. At the time of recording, this question has 407 upvotes and 264 downvotes. And it asks, given an array of strings words, return true if it forms a valid word square. A sequence of strings forms a valid word square if the rows and columns read the same string. So in this first example, we have the first row, and it is A, B, C, D. And the column is also A, B, C, D. The next row is B, N, R, T, and the next column is also B, N, R, T, and so on. Before going into depth to these examples, let's look at the constraints. The constraints are that the words.length, or the row length, will be between 1 and 500 units, and the columns will be also 1 and 500 letters long. Words I consists of only lowercase English letters. Okay, so let's understand the examples. Okay, running through the code really quick, we see two for loops. The first for loop defines the iteration of the rows, and the second one of the columns. So here we have for I in range 0 to length words. The length of words is 4 here, and the columns is 0 to length words of I. Words of I is simply the index of the current row, so if it's row 0, it'll be 4. Therefore, the column should be 0 to 4 also. Next, we have this if conditional, which checks that the length of words is equal to or less than j, which would be the length of columns. This just checks to make sure that the length of the rows and columns is the same. And it also then checks that the letters at the specified cells of each row and column are also the same, and if they're not, we simply return false. And then if we loop through every single cell in this word square, and we see that false is never returned, we return true. So let's run through this example. So in this first example, we iterate through the first row and the first column, and we see that the range is between 0 to length words and 0 length words at I. I is 0 here at the start, so we see that the length of words for the row is A, B, C, D, that's 4. And the length of the columns is 4 also, for the first column, A, B, C, D. Next, we can check if these letters are the same for the values at the rows and the columns. So is A the same as A, since this is both column and row value? That's true. Is B the same as B? Yes. C, C, D, D. Okay, so far everything's been true. The valid word square is true so far. Next iteration. So then we loop then to the next row. That's row index 1, and that's B, N, R, T. And then the same applies for the column. That's B, N, R, T for the second column as well. And you can see that 4 characters on the column and 4 characters on the row show that the lengths are the same. There's no greater than J values for the length words, and the values are the same, BNRT, BNRT. Next, same thing, but the next row, we iterate then this I to 2, and it's CRMY. And then we loop through the column, 0 to length words at I, so that would be CRMY, and we check. So these are also 4 characters of length for both column and row, and they have the same values. Starting with the column here, we see that C, C, R, R, M, M, Y, Y. So that's true so far, so we go to the last iteration. And we see then that the length of columns and the length of rows is the same. And the letters are also the same. D, D, T, T, Y, Y, E, E. So in this example, we return true. Alright, let's check the solution. And it works. Very nice. So what is the time complexity of this solution? The time complexity of this code is O of n squared, where n is the length of the longest word in the input list. This is because there are 2 nested loops, and each iterates up to the length of the longest word. The space complexity is O of 1. We use the code with constant amount of space to store the loop variables and the input list. That's it for this question. Thank you for watching.